Pete, where are you at? Where do you live at?
Lincoln Square, Western and Irving.
Square? Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I'm here in Redondo Beach right now. I'm still just waiting for everything to lift so I can, move to the city. And my wife's looking at, obviously I am too, but places in, like Wilmette, Des Plaines, Oak Park, places kind of close for the little one.
How about we switch and I move to California and you can move to Lincoln Square?
I mean, I'm here for a limited time only. You guys been watching anything good?
I saw a special on Fuzzy Zeller on the Masters, how his daughter was his caddy in the final round in 2009. It was great. Yeah. I mean, when you're watching specials on Fuzzy Zeller, there's nothing on TV.
Yeah. Scraping the bottom of the internet there, huh?
I'm trying to memorize the Ken Burns 9 innings.
I was watching that the other day.
It's always new. I mean, you can see it a million times and still see things that are good.
Absolutely.
Tiger King, anybody?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
My daughter and I have done 3 episodes of Tiger King. My wife bailed halfway through when they started feeding the carcasses to the tigers in episode 1. My wife bailed. What else?
Ozark.
I haven't revisited Ozark. We're into the British crime shows.
Hold on a second. Pete, did you just give Ozark thumbs down?
No, I love Ozark. Loved it. I'm already done with season 3. I gave Tiger King a thumbs down. I mean, the mullets, the whole deal, the cults. Very odd.
I mean, it's entertaining because they're weird.
It's an amazing bit of humanity. Line of Duty is a good watch. British cop show.
Line of Duty.
I tried Letterman.
Line of Duty.
You ever watch the Letterman interviews?
I have not. I heard those are good.
Yeah, some of them are good. Yeah, they're long.
Have you guys seen Long Shot? Story. It's on Netflix. It's a documentary about a guy who's a murder suspect.
No.
Oh, it's awesome. He gets saved by an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm and a Dodgers game. I'll put it like that. It's only like 45 minutes long. It's great.
Okay.
Well, that's the other
one I won't. One I won't watch is Pandemic. That's on Netflix.
It's a little too close to home. It's a little too close to home.
I mean, they project it and just.
I was muted. No worries. Hey, Cole. So here we go. Traffic again. I just want to make sure you're good. Intros. Hello, intros. Then your full screen. Then your VO. And then you tee up the panel.
Yep.
About baseball being unified moving forward. You're going to go to Pete first. And then I'll get in there eventually. I'll dictate the conversation, guys. And then you're eventually going to tease Mark Pryor later in the segment. So let's go.
Yep.
Pete, Bruce, and JD here. Pete, Bruce, and JD, but I'll keep you guys honest. Okay. You ready, Cole?
Yep.
Here we go, everybody. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, another day, another edition of Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. I'm Cole Wright at your service. So without further ado, let's meet the team. Now, he's covered baseball in Chicago for 30 plus years, and you can hear him on 670 The Score. He's a mainstay here on Cubs 360. It's Bruce Levine. And it'll also be his 8th season in the booth alongside Len Casper. JD, Jim DeShays, thanks for playing today. And he's over on WGN Radio. He's a host, and he's the host with the most. He's also a friend of the show. It's Pete McMurray. Guys, I'm ready to get going today because, as we know, Major League Baseball, they've put a plan in place to hopefully start the Major League season by May. And they would do so in Arizona in front of 0 fans at rotating sites. But one California government official, well, he has other plans. And Santa Clara County Executive Officer Jeff Smith, he had this to say, and I quote, "I don't expect that we'll have any sports games until at least Thanksgiving, and we'll be lucky to have them by Thanksgiving." Wow. Meanwhile, the Oakland A's, they've expressed reluctance about Major League Baseball's reported plan to start the season in May. Now, A's minor league coach, Webster Garrison, he's currently in intensive care and on a ventilator after testing positive for COVID-19. And A's outfielder, Mark Canha, he said if baseball returns, it needs to strive to be, quote, socially responsible. So, guys, the A's probably not the only team that feels this way about returning to normalcy in May and bringing back baseball. So, Pete, what do you think? Should Major League Baseball have 100% of everybody on board when it comes to players and personnel and baseball getting back to business?
Well, we all want to see baseball come back because it adds a little normalcy to our lives. But, of course, they all have to be unified. If the Dodgers are out and the Giants are out and the Cubs are in and the Cardinals are in, what if the Red Sox are out and the Yankees are in? It has to be unified, be it a neutral site in Arizona. I don't know how they're going to quarantine all those teams, be it a neutral site or whatever, but it's got to be 30-0. It's got to be unified or this thing doesn't work.
Look, medical experts are going to have to be involved here, and they're going to have to be the most informed players that have ever heard medical advice from anybody. The Players Association is going to have to sign off on this. The players are going to have to sign off on it because people get sick all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're getting this particular virus. But when somebody gets sick, how is everyone else going to act? How are they going to react? And what are the medical experts going to do about it as far as isolating people who have normal colds from normal illnesses that we have and not the coronavirus that we're dealing with now? So it's a huge can of worms. And from the practicality of the California people, I like what they're saying. I don't like it for baseball. I don't like the idea that we might not have baseball this year, but certainly a prudent approach, to this is the necessary thing. We can't give a pie in the sky idea that baseball is going to be played by mid-May. I think that is naive at the very best.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, health issues notwithstanding, I think the big issue is going to be, from the players' point of view, this separation from the families. I think the idea that players would be quarantined in hotels for 4.5 months in Arizona without their families is probably not going to fly. I'm just guessing most players won't buy into that. So I think some adjustments would have to be made there. Of course, that's all with the big given that the virus is under control and all the public health officials and the local government officials feel like it's safe to move forward. So, all that has to be in place, one, and then you've got to convince the players, that they can, to go ahead and leave their families for an extended period of time or come up with a way to bring the families out there and join the players.
Well, JD, what do you think about this? What if everyone looks to be on board, but then there's some of the big stars, some of the big names that look to be stragglers? Say Mike Trout says, you know what, I'm not playing. I'm expecting a child in August. What happens then?
Well, I think it would be a consensus vote by the union. If the Players Association takes a vote and a majority of the players say they want to do it, and the clubs want to do it, and all the other issues have been dealt with, then the Angels and Mike Trout are going to have a problem. They're going to, if there's a consensus on the players' side, even if there's a handful of players, regardless of how talented they are and how big a name they are, I think they'll go ahead and play the games and try to make accommodations for those players to perhaps join at a later date.
Boy, there's so much at play here. You're right, JD. I mean, the players have to vote on it, but you don't want to have to piecemeal all these teams together. The players, I think everybody has to be in. Either you're in or out. I think that's the bottom line. You just don't want to see teams with half rosters. Or if I'm playing against the Angels, I want to see Mike Trout. If he's not going to play, then forget it. It's just not going to work.
Well, Mike Trout also has some illnesses where he's had to take steroids legally throughout his whole career. So we're not even talking about guys that have asthma, that have upper respiratory issues, even though they're great athletes, they still have the human condition. And you have to consider that for each individual that's going to be involved in this. So you just can't paint it with a broad brush and say everybody's going to adhere to this and everyone's going to be fine. There are things that are going to have to be in place, and the medical experts, the states, the cities, Major League Baseball, the Players Association are going to have to be on pace with all of this before we get moving on any of it.
Yeah, guys. Well, either way, we kick it around. It'll be the first delayed season in Major League Baseball since 1995. So only time will tell how long that delay will actually be. Now, still to come right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Mark Pryor, he went top 2 in the draft, and he was one of the best young arms in the bigs for a time. However, today, some call him the most overhyped prospect in Cubs history. Is that fair? We'll discuss. More Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, up next.
Cole, do you have your messenger on? Cole.
Yeah, you know what? I had it blocked. I'm sorry. You said re-T Pete.
Yep, no worries. It's okay. But good segment, you guys. Good segment. What was blocking it?
I just had a note card propped up against it, and it wasn't. That's my mistake, man.
Okay. All right. Okay. All good. We'll make the time up. Not worried about that. Good segment, you guys. Strong stuff. Okay. So this segment, you guys, we're going to come back in. Cole, you're going to read a VO about Mark Pryor. We're going to look at some numbers from Pryor. And then we're going to tee up our Miller Lite refreshing take. And it's just a statement that you're going to go to JD first. Was Pryor overhyped? All right, so we'll have a chat, a deep dive here into Pryor. Feel free to take it to other Cubs prospects who you feel may have been overhyped or didn't, get to live up to the billing like they wanted to. So you'll have a good 5 minutes to go here for this segment.
And just and Malik, just to make sure on the headlines from the sports scene, it's Arturas Karnisovas.
Yeah. So let's do this. When you're done, when I wrap the segment, just do a single and then just do your obit story. Don't do the headlines. We're not ready for those. So let's kill the headlines today.
Okay.
So
when you're done,
Pete?
Hold on a second here, Pete. When you're done with the segment, Cole, so you'll just wrap it, and then we'll give you a single, and then you can do your read, then take us to break.
Okay.
You clear on that, Kevin?
Yep, take a single, going to break.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go. We can go JD, Pete, and then Bruce here, and then I'll keep you guys on this. You ready here, Cole?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's get back down there.
Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back to Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Now, as we know, Mark Pryor, he helped elevate the Cubs quickly into a World Series contender. That's after they took him with a top pick in the draft. Now, his best season, that was back in 2003 when he helped pitch a complete game in the NLDS and took the Cubs to within 5 outs of a World Series appearance. Now, he won 18 games during the regular season, finishing third in the Cy Young voting that season. That's 2003. Now, let's take a deeper dive on Mr. Pryor. He did that 2 years after the Cubs took him second overall in 2001, and he spent 5 seasons in the majors. And, of course, the injury bug, that was his biggest hurdle. It landed him on the DL 9 times over a 6-year span, and he officially retired in 2013 after multiple comeback attempts that failed. So back here with the guys on Cubs 360, Bruce, JD, and Pete. And gentlemen, ESPN.com, they wrote an article ranking the most hyped prospect for every single Major League Baseball team. And of course, Mark Pryor, well, his name was a topic of discussion. So that leads us now to our Miller Lite refreshing take of the day. So guys, what do you think? Mark Pryor, the most overhyped Cub in the history of the Chicago Cubs? JD, the floor is yours.
Well, perhaps most hyped, but not overhyped. I mean, it was legit.
Okay.
This guy was, if he stayed healthy, would have been a frontline pitcher for a long time in the major leagues. He was an all-star his first full year in the big leagues. You referenced the numbers, 18 wins as a rookie and an all-star. He was 22 years old. His junior year at USC, the year the Cubs drafted him, he struck out over 200 batters, walked 18. Scouting reports on Pryor were off the charts in terms of his makeup, his polish, his command, and his stuff. He had the big, strong body, 6'5", 225, broad shoulders, calves, the size of a barrel. It's just injuries. So, the hype was legit. He was that good. He was going to be that good. But injuries, as it so often is the case with pitchers, got in the way. And there's been a lot of debate about the workload. Did Dusty work and carry Wood too hard? That's a debate we can have long into the night, perhaps a topic for another show. But I don't think he was overhyped. I think he was properly hyped. He was that good.
I always had calf envy with Mark Pryor. His calves were so big. Man, there are the calves and the calf-nots. Isn't that what they say? I remember when Pryor was drafted out of USC. I remember his first season, and I remember that magical season in 2003, 18-6. Game 6 of the NLCS, I was there. I remember when Dusty Baker did not walk out to the mound to calm him down. I remember when Alex Gonzalez did not turn that double play. But here's the thing with Pryor. He was a great pitcher early in his career, but he averaged 126 pitches per game. I just saw the Kerry Wood game on TV the other day where he had 20 strikeouts. He pitched 124 pitches that game. Pryor wasn't overhyped. I would say that he was overused early in his career, and he blew out his arm. That's what happened.
Well, I think that I'm glad to hear that Pete's over it. It's only been 17 years. I'm glad he's finally gotten over it. But the fact remains is that 2 injuries of significance did this guy in. Number one, a collision on the base paths with Marcus Giles. That was injury number 1. And in 2005, it was the crowning injury that really kind of began the end of his career. And that was a line drive off the bat of Brad Hopp that hit him on the forearm. Never was the same pitcher again. As we've said, tried to recover, tried comebacks for 5 or 6 years. Now the pitching coach of the Los Angeles Dodgers. This guy was not overhyped. He had 100 more strikeouts in his career than innings pitched. This guy was as good as there was. Pete's argument about too many pitches, that was a different era. And you can talk about it as much as you want. You could be right, but from the workload, these guys were horses. They were great pitchers, and it's a shame what happened to his career. After 5 years, this guy should have been an all-star many times, helping the Cubs go to numerous playoffs. It just did not work out.
Yeah, and it's just another one of those cautionary tales. When Pryor first came to the big leagues, and I saw him pitch, and I talked to a lot of scouts about him, and people talked about the comparisons to Tom Seaver. He had this great body, he had great mechanics. The thinking was that he was as close to injury-proof as a pitcher could be because of his size, his strength, and his mechanics. I think it just proves that you just never know. You see guys with all kinds of funky deliveries, and you think this is a blowout waiting to happen, and that player will go on and pitch for a long time and remain healthy. You see other guys that look like the perfect pitcher and physically, and they break down. It's one of the great enigmas in our sport. It's something that teams and doctors and trainers are still trying to wrap their arms around, the whole notion of biomechanics and what allows a guy to be good for a long period of time. And that's why workload is monitored so closely now. Because of pitch counts, shorter outings, you don't get to see the Fergie Jenkins and the Tom Seavers and the Nolan Ryans pitch 300 innings, and hopefully you keep a greater pool of pitchers healthy for the long haul.
Yeah, back in 2003, Pryor certainly the business end of a hammer. And when it came to Pryor, Wood, or Clement, it was a case of pick your poison. Now, some sad news to report here on a Thursday because the Cubs, they're mourning the loss of Michael Burkhart, who lost his battle with cancer earlier this week. Burkhart was 63 years old. Now, he worked in the Cubs organization for 34 years, and in 2019, he completed his 16th season as Wrigley Field's visiting clubhouse manager. Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. We're back after this.
Good job, you guys. Good stuff.
I'm still a little bitter about 2003. Sorry,
Oh.
Bruce.
Really doesn't sound like it at all.
That's when I learned about cash advances on my debit card, on my credit card, rather.
Hey, Cole.
Like,
Malik Santini here.
Yeah, what's up, Mike?
Looking good, Malik.
Hey, Cole.
There was more copy. There was more copies.
Yeah.
More copy to the Michael Burkhart thing, right?
Yeah, I'm about to see right now. Cole, what did you have for that Burkhart? What was all your copy? What you read exactly?
Yeah.
Was that word for word from Notch? Yeah, hold on. I'm looking.
Go back. You jump back in it. Just for whatever reason, popped out of it. Yeah. Cubs mourning the loss of Burkhart. Burkhart lost his battle with cancer this week, 63 years old. Worked in the Cubs organization 34 years, 2019, 16th season, visiting clubhouse manager.
Hold on a second.
It's crummy out today. How's the weather out there, guys? Any better?
Yeah, hey, Cole,
Pretty
check
today.
your email. Cole, check your email. I want you to try and work what I just sent to you. I need you to add that in. What we're going to have you do, I'll just have you do a single. And if you can add some of that statement in from the Cubs, that would be great. There was just something that got lost there. We want a little bit of that statement within the story. I just sent it to you in your Gmail.
Do you want to, since it's going to be over a full screen panel, do you want to tack it on at the end as just a pickup?
No, what you can do is I want you to do everything on camera now because I don't want to be on that obit for like 20, 30 seconds. That's all we have of the guy as a picture. It's not like we have video of him or anything. So,
Okay, well, I don't want it just to be too clunky. I mean, this is going to be, I don't want, because I don't have anything that memorized. So let me just,
yeah. We got time. It's all good.
Hey, Malik, you got me?
He wanted to throw it to me. He was a good friend of mine.
do you want to get, Malik, you want to do this after the fact so that we can get these guys out here so I don't have to wait so I can construct this? So since it's going to be an on-cam so it's smooth? As opposed to just like looking down and reading copy?
Sure, let's do that, Cole. We can do it after.
You know what I'm saying? Just so these guys can
Yep.
get on their way so I'm not sitting here waiting on
Yep,
me.
and then I'll give me some time to build it out as well.
It's all good.
We'll resend you an email so you have everything. Okay, the
Okay.
traffic for this segment when we do it again, when we do it at the end of the show, we'll craft it out for you. Don't worry. Traffic for this segment. You're coming back in. You're reacting to that Jim DeSay's clip. Did you see it? Andrew sent it to all.
Yeah,
of you guys.
I did the voiceover for it.
Okay, so you're just reacting to that. You're going to introduce the guys, make the segue about why we're doing this for the Masters, and then we'll go to a 2-shot of you and Bruce, and then you'll tee him up for best short game / closer. Do you have all the copy for this?
Do I?
Yeah, to tee these guys up on. Do you? Okay, great.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
Okay, so you're going Bruce, JD, and Pete in that order, and then we'll come back out to the 4-shot, and we'll tee these guys out on their version of Augusta. What would that be? What's the Major League Baseball equivalent? All right, so I'll dictate the conversation for that. But we can just go back down the line again. You can just start with Bruce, and then JD can take it off of him, and then Pete can wrap us up. And then off of that, you're teasing the quarantine house, the Cubs quarantine house.
Okay, and you said go back to Bruce on the field.
Yeah, on Augusta. Yep, exactly, on the field.
You got it. No doubt.
All right, hold on a second.
If you guys could win a tournament, would it be the Masters at Augusta or would it be the Open Championship at St. Andrews?
Come on.
Boy.
I think I'd rather walk across that cobblestone bridge where golf was invented on Sunday on 18.
Right, the green jacket.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a rather. It's tough either or.
Gotta be the green jacket.
I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool to win like the very first golf tournament where golf was invented, essentially. Be pretty neat. Plus,
all right.
St. Andrews plays to my strengths. Cut corners, Jim.
Okay.
Your chat also.
Yeah, so you're just doing those guys 2 shots, right? So Cole and Bruce 2-shot, Cole and JD 2-shot, and then Cole and Pete 2-shot, right? And then it'll be a 4-shot.
All right, so yeah, Cole, Bruce, Cole, JD is Cole.
Yep. If you look at the email I sent this morning, you have the rundown, so it's there laid out for you. So, okay, cool. Here we go, everybody. You ready, Cole?
Yep.
Okay. And just a reminder, you're reacting to the video that we put together. Mm-hmm. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, I'm certainly no Jim Nantz, but this is where we currently stand with our golf action these days. The Masters, it was set to start on Thursday, but now it's going to take place at Augusta in November, of course, due to everything surrounding with COVID-19. So let's bring some of that golf spirit right here to Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. Bruce, JD, and Pete, they're back in the fold. And guys, I'm going to tee you up and I'm going to use a little golf terminology. Are you guys all right with that? I hope so, because we're going to do it either way. Now, Bruce, I'm going to let you go first because when it comes to the pitcher in Major League Baseball with the best short game, give me a closer. Who's the best in the bigs?
Well, with all due respect to Kirby Yates of San Diego, it is Josh Hader. Nobody does it better. An 0.85 whip, 16.4 strikeouts per 9 innings. The guy is unconscious, and no short game is better than his over the past 3 years. How about this? 3.5 years in the major leagues, no wild pitches. He is on top of his short game.
Okay, pinpoint for sure right there. Let's move things along because we saw earlier, we know he drives for show, but he also putts for Joe. JD, who has the best long game, the best slugger in the bigs today?
Well, before I get to that, I just want to comment on that video. I actually got the yips trying to make that putt. That's how important that putt was to me.
You still put it in, though. That's good.
Yeah, with careful editing by my daughter.
Yeah.
Long game, you're talking sluggers. There was a great video that made its way around Twitter this spring with Mike Trout out at one of those top golf facilities in Arizona, actually hitting the ball outside of the property. So you have to put Trout on that list. Aaron Judge comes to mind. But if you're talking slugger, long ball, John Daly, somebody who's hit the ball a long, long way, I'm probably going to put my money on Pete Alonso.
Ooh. Yeah, Pete Alonso certainly rakes over there for those New York Mets. Now, speaking of Pete, let's move things along because a golfer on tour, he's only as good as his caddy, and the same goes for the battery, that pitcher and catcher relationship. So when it comes to the best caddy, who's the best backstop? Who's the best catcher in the game?
I do want to add to what JD was saying. I mean, the Masters weekend, there is nothing like it. I mean, you're talking about missing MLB this weekend. I mean, the Sunday at the Masters where we're all sitting in front of TV, there's nothing better than that. But the White Sox picked up Grandal in the offseason. It's going to be exciting to see how he does. Wilson Contreras, I love him from the Cubs because he plays with passion. I know I'm a homer when I say that. And, of course, Buster Posey. You can't get any better than that.
Okay, now as we miss Augusta, the pimento cheese sandwiches and the lovely green wrappers, so you don't see those wrappers if they're dropped on the ground on national TV. When you think of Augusta, you think of pristine settings. So, guys, when it comes to a baseball field that gives you the same kind of feeling, Bruce, what's on the line with Augusta?
Well, you can't use the Chicago ballpark, so
you can't use Wrigley Field, of course.
Yeah, of course, but it's a new one that we haven't heard of. It's going to start this year. It's called Oracle Park, and it was actually AT&T Park in San Francisco. Now, any place that has a name, an address, 24 Willie Mays Plaza is my place to go. That's Valhalla. And when you talk about this ballpark right on the bay and splash shots and the food and the atmosphere of just 40,000 people, that's the place I need to be if it's not Wrigley Field or on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, for me, it's obviously number one Wrigley, but we're not considering Wrigley for this conversation. I would have to go back to the original Yankee Stadium and to a lesser extent the new Yankee Stadium. So much history in the old ballpark. The white facade, everything about that ballpark. There's an aura. There's a certain feel when you're in New York and you're at Yankee Stadium. So that would be at the top of my list.
Guys, how can you not pick Fenway Park? I mean, Augusta is about tradition and rich history. Think about Boston with the Green Monster and Yaz and Wade Boggs and Roger Clemens and Popeye. I could go on and on. I mean, I never want to see the Red Sox win another championship ever again, but how do you not say that Fenway Park is your pick to compare?
That's
I will say how you don't say Fenway Park. I can answer all your poppies and with Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, Derek Jeter. 27 World Championships.
And
I'm not even a
JD,
Yankee fan.
the seats at Fenway, JD, they're too small for you and I if we wanted to go as spectators, right?
It's obviously it's a great place, but yeah, it's it's cramped, it's crowded, short.
Nothing
porch.
beautiful about it.
Yeah, left-handed
I'm
pitchers
surprised
struggle there a little bit. It's personal.
no one went with
personal
Dodger
for me.
Stadium. Those sunsets in the ravine, very akin to the sunsets in Augusta, Georgia. Now our Masters coverage, it will continue Friday right here on Cubs 360. So join us, won't you? Now still to come right here on the show as we hammer home social distancing. Which Cubs, past and present, would you want to be quarantined with? That's still to come right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Keep your 6 feet.
All right, good stuff, guys.
Should have said Jerry Park.
29,000 strong.
Did you ever read Jonah Carey's book, Up and Away?
No.
It's really good. The first half of the book in particular is really good. He has a love affair with the Expos, and the second half of the book, he gets into this long discussion of his favorite players, but the start of the book is about the birth of the franchise and the building of the stadium. It's pretty interesting stuff.
That was a dump, too.
Yeah. Well, they were still building it like a week before they opened. They were shoveling snow and trying to throw up some bleachers.
Bruce went all in, man. He called Fenway a dump.
It is a dump.
It is a dump, Bruce. I get it, but it's not tradition.
Yeah, but it's not my favorite. It's it's a dump.
And I don't think
It's not-
Yankee
it's not
Stadium
great.
counts because it's too new. The
Yeah,
old
yeah.
Yankee
Yeah,
Stadium,
that's what I
I'll agree with
thought.
you, JD.
And
How
one's
about
the
Camden
old
Yards
one,
or
yeah.
PNC?
Too
No
new.
ballpark.
I hear nothing but good things about PNC.
Yeah, it's great from the upper deck. It's just JD will tell you can't see anything from where we sit. It's just it's a little too high with the higher seats in the ballpark.
Yeah, best views though. Great views with the bridges
Yeah,
back
the water.
downtown.
All right, guys. Here we go. Did you guys look at the tweet that I sent you, the quarantine house? Which
Yes.
house would be yours? Which house would be yours, Bruce?
I'm going with the drunks on the last one, number 6. Is this
Okay.
going to be
What
up
about-
while we're talking? Are the charts going
Yeah,
to be up as we
make it work. We're going to see it before you start talking. Then we'll make it work as you're talking. What about you, JD?
I'm probably going to go with the pitcher's house with Maddox.
House 4. Mm-hmm.
House 4.
And then Pete?
Number 1.
Great. Good. So we'll have some variation there. So you guys each will have about 20 seconds, all right? Let's just go right down the line. Bruce, JD, Pete. So Cole, you'll bring us in.
Are we
I'm
going to have a
sorry,
visual
again?
on this, or do I need to find the tweet?
Is
No.
Miller the
We
sponsor?
have, yes, it is. So we're going to have a visual to start this segment. So everybody would have saw it, so now we just need you to explain who you like. So all good.
I'm
All right,
last.
Yes. So Cole, you bring us in. We'll do the tweet, and then you'll just go right down the line. Bruce, JD, and Pete. Everybody's going to have about 15 seconds, okay?
Bruce.
And then you'll
Bruce, Shitty, and Pete. You got it.
Yep. And you just do your goodbye off of that.
Let me tweak one thing on JD here since you moved standby.
Great.
I had to retrieve my power. My computer was about to go to sleep.
Tell your daughter she did a great job with the video. It was funny.
Will do. She was into it.
I don't think that hole was regulation though, JD. I mean,
No.
that was large.
No, I've been
Yeah.
using a little furniture moving pad too. That's little furniture, one of those little deals you put under
saw
the
that.
table leg. That's been my primary target.
That's considerably smaller than a
You all good, Kevin?
Yep, all good. Thanks.
All right. Can we get a single for Cole? Thank you. Here we go. Cole. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, Cole Wright shutting down this edition of Cubs 360. Back here with the guys, Bruce, JD, and Pete McMurray. And the Chicago Cubs, of course, they're active on social media, and they tweeted out 6 options of current and former players that could be potential quarantine mates if you were in a house. And guys, if you had to pick one of those houses, which house would you roll with? Bruce, I'll start with you.
I'm going with house number 6 because when the Miller lights start cracking, I want to be around Lackey, Lester, Sutcliffe, and Jenkins. That's going to be the best time anybody has once those Miller lights get popping. So that's the house for me.
Okay.
Number 6, Bruce Levine.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the other pitcher's house, Bruce. I'm going to go to house number 4. I'm going to let Darvish buy all the pizza and beer. He's got a lot of money. I want to hang out with Maddox and Hendricks and pick their brains about pitching. And I'm afraid if I go to house number 6, I might end up spending the night in jail. So I'm going to hang out with the pitchers over there in house number 4.
House number 1, you got Billy Williams telling old time stories. You got Jason Hayward, who you can work out with. And of course, you can drink beer with Ryan Dempster. House 1, Club 1 is my pick right there.
Okay. Yeah. House number 6, you might end up going to jail, but house number 5, you may end up breaking up a fight. I don't know who put those assignments together, but Michael Barrett and Carlos Zambrano in the same house. That should be fun. And speaking of fun, our fun has come to a close here on Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. So for Bruce, JD, and Pete, I'm Cole Wright. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, good stuff today, guys. You guys are clear. Thank you. Thank you for that added help there, JD, with that. Much appreciated.
Sure, happy to do it.
You guys, good stuff today.
Catch you guys later.
Cole, please stick around. So,
Yep.
have a
Malik.
Thanks, guys.
Malik,
At the end
you
there.
got me?
What's up, Bruce? Yep.
Michael Burkhardt was a friend of mine. If you want to do a shorty, I'll keep it to 10 or 15 seconds. I just thought I'd throw it your way, make it easier on Cole.
No, we're gonna play it straight, and we're gonna do this statement. But I appreciate your
Very
help.
good. All right.
Thank you,
take
Bruce.
care.
All right. Oh, give me a second. I'm gonna make a call. Hey, what's up, man?
I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a note card real quick.